Welcome to this video on creating our sample project. We will walk through installing Android Studio and SQL Server Management Studio to build the Belle Croissant Lyonnais solution. This project reuses the database from our previous session. We will follow a specific architecture to connect our Android application through an ASP.NET Core Web API, implementing registration, login, and more. In this first part, we will extend our existing SQL database. We begin by opening SSMS and connecting to the Belle Croissant Lyonnais database. Before making changes, we need to inspect the existing customers table. Use the provided command to view the columns and verify which ones are already present to avoid duplication. Now we will add the necessary authentication and profile columns to the customers table. Run these commands individually and ensure you don't add columns that already exist. Next, we create the security questions table. This table will hold the default questions used for account recovery. Run the provided script to generate the table and insert the initial data. We also need to create a table to manage customer addresses. Run this script to define the customer addresses table, including the necessary foreign key constraint linked to the customers table. Now we establish the relationship between the customers table and the security questions table by adding a foreign key constraint. To ensure data integrity, we must make sure email addresses are unique. First, check for any duplicates, and if none are found, create a unique index on the email column. Moving to Part B, we will add the Web API project to your existing Visual Studio solution. Select the ASP.NET Core Web API template and configure your project settings. This slide summarizes the steps to add the Web API project, from opening the context menu to configuring your framework and enabling the necessary controllers. Next, we need to install the required NuGet packages into our new API project. These include support for SQL Server, EF Core Tools, JWT authentication, and bcrypt for secure password hashing. With the packages installed, update your app-settings.json file. You need to add the connection string block to point the API to your local SQL Server instance. In Part C, we create our API models. Start by creating a models folder, then add the customer model class to define our data structures. Finally, we create the customer address model class. This involves defining the properties and establishing the necessary table mapping and relationships within the project. Now, let's create the orders model class. We'll define fields such as order ID, customer ID, and order date to establish our data structure within the models folder. Moving to the database context, we need to create the class that manages our entity mappings and database connections. Start by creating a dedicated data folder. Next, we configure the database context. Inherit from DB context, define your DB sets, and configure the Fluent API relationships as shown in the project repository. In step 15, we configure program.cs. This includes setting up the database connection, defining the connection string, and implementing JWT bearer authentication. Now we address API request and response classes. Begin by creating a new folder named DTOs. Then add the register request DTO class to capture registration data. For user authentication, we need a login DTO. Create the login request class inside the DTOs folder with the necessary properties for email and password. Next, we create the authentication response, DTO. This class handles the return data, including the bearer token and the user's customer ID. Now we implement the auth controller in the controllers folder. This controller will handle the login and registration logic by injecting the necessary dependencies. For the forgot password flow, we add new DTOs. These include classes for initiating recovery, verifying security answers, and resetting the user's password. With the DTOs ready, add the forgot password and validation endpoints to your auth controller to process the full recovery flow. Next is the profile API. Implement the profile controller to retrieve and edit user profile settings, ensuring that access is restricted to authenticated users. For managing addresses, create the addresses controller. This allows your API to handle address records efficiently as part of the user's account details. We can now add the order history endpoint. We will reuse the existing orders table and create an orders controller to fetch order data. Finally, install Swashbuckle to integrate Swagger for documentation. Once installed, run your project and use the Swagger interface to test all your API endpoints.